Welcome to the NASCAR Hotspot Podcast. I'm your host Troy, joined by Caden and Chris. Nick will join back later, but today this is a special episode because we will not only be going over a wild weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, but we'll also be joined by road racer Andy Lally this week. So this is a busy episode, and we can't wait to talk about the weekend. So how has everyone's lives been?
It is going good, and then we tried to stream, and then we got almost gonna get sued for copyright.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That is great.
We were getting it all hyped up. We were like, "Yeah, we're streaming. This is gonna be the biggest stream ever of all time," and then it's like, "No, copyright." I think we should
that
have
actually happened. I missed.
Yeah,
I
we
missed
got
it. Oh, it
yeah.
actually got shut down for copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Troy was in the middle of. We were like getting it started, and then it says Troy got like an email.
I got an email. It was like a really direct email. I'll read what it said if I haven't deleted it yet.
All right.
I feel like if we're gonna do it without the race on the screen, we've got to do it like all three of us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right out of the way. Wasn't the best race of the season, and I was just a little bit disappointed with the race overall. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good. It just wasn't the best Talladega race we've had with that package by far.
Agreed. It wasn't the best race of the season.
Yeah, it's still better than Daytona 500, no doubt, but it was okay. I mean, obviously it was better than most races this season, but in terms of with this package, high spoilers, it wasn't really all that for me. I'd put it probably bottom two for races with the new package at these super speedways.
That makes sense. That's fair.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, that's true. Because what we had 2019 and now is this package that we ran.
Yeah.
Or was it last year?
2019 Talladega Spring was the first one with the package.
Yeah.
And then 2019 fall, that race.
No, because this
Wasn't
one has
really
more
fun.
horsepower than 2019. 2020 and
This is
2021 has
2020.
more horsepower.
Yeah.
So 2020
yeah.
and this year. Yeah, I'd probably
Yeah.
say then that it's the second worst, in Daytona and February being the worst one so far.
Yeah. I mean, all
But-
four races last year, I would consider
Oh,
top
dude,
five
all four
races.
races last year were insane. They were.
Yeah, I mean,
they were definitely
Daytona-
like
Daytona
the top
500.
five. Gen
Daytona
Gen
500
6
was
races
so
at super
good.
speedways.
Yeah, Daytona 500 was so good. Talladega Spring, amazing finish. It was carnage, but it was an amazing
It was
finish.
carnage.
Daytona Summer was my favorite race of last year. And then the fall Talladega race, although it was very controversial, I think it was still a really good race overall without the controversy.
Yeah.
And
For
then
sure.
even in 2019, I know it's like kind of like a similar kind of different
I'd
package.
say like the fall Dega race was probably better than the rest of them. in
Yeah, I
2019.
agree.
Oh, I love that race. I was actually
That's
just,
an
like,
amazing
rewatching bits of it today.
Yeah.
I was there.
Were
The
you
one race,
actually?
the one time
was
it didn't
there.
rain. The one time it didn't rain at a race
Yeah,
for you.
I stayed. No, I actually had to stay
Oh,
till
no, it
Monday.
did.
I
Yeah,
stayed
because
till
it did
Monday.
rain.
It rained.
When you said I was there earlier, you said like in the chat or something. I didn't believe you. I completely forgot you were at that.
Last
That
year
was
fun.
actually
pretty
such
good.
a good race. That and Daytona Summer of last year were like the two best races in my opinion.
Yeah.
Daytona Summer
Although-
last year was just such a vibe. Honestly,
Dude, all four of them last year, and then Dega fall of 19. Those are probably the best 5 races of the Gen 6 for super speedways.
oh yeah.
some of
I
the best
mean,
ones.
2018. No.
No,
No.
even with Eric Jones
2018.
winning the Coke 400,
Yeah.
that one wasn't really.
It was a good race overall. I'd say it was the best of the 2018 races.
Yeah, but
I'd say it
didn't touch.
It doesn't touch this.
No.
2017, I really can't remember any of the fall race was good.
2017.
Fall race
I
was
know.
good.
I know you
remember that.
choose to. I know you choose to ignore the 500 of 2017.
Fall
Me,
500 was
yeah.
so sad.
Everything
And
about
Chris was
2015
leading with like 2 to
depressing.
go. Oh my god, he was leading with like 2 or 3 to go, and then ran out of field. Still a pretty good race though. I like super speedway fuel mileage finishes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I just like super speedway.
I
finishes in
like,
general
yeah,
for the most part.
better than short tracks in my opinion.
Depends.
Yeah, but they're both better than intermediates.
Yeah.
Intermediates have been
Yeah.
terrible.
This year they haven't been too bad.
This
I mean,
year
we've had
hasn't been
what,
too
one?
bad now.
We've had two. We had Homestead and Vegas.
Atlanta too. So three.
Okay,
of them. We've
Atlanta
had
was
three of them.
garbage though. So I mean,
Atlanta had a
Atlanta's
better
typically
finish. So compared
Atlanta
to
did have a
recent
pretty
years,
good finish. And then we're going to
Yeah.
Kansas. That's going to be, I hope that's a good race. I hope that's a good
Yeah.
race.
We could
it
be
is
the
in the
only
day.
right because
So
last
Oh, it's in
last
the day?
race at Kansas
Yeah.
was
Why'd they
terrible.
change it in the day?
I think
the
the
day.
I think the playoff race is at night. Should be.
should be.
check.
That's what I'm
If
doing.
it
right
is, actually, that'd be sick.
now. Nope. Oh, it'll end at night probably.
3 no,
What
it's the
time?
same time, 3 o'clock Sunday. It's the
Yeah,
same
no,
time
but
both
it'll
races.
be the sun will be
Time
going
change.
down tremendously by then. So
All right,
it'll
so
end at night.
let's get on to the races. We're gonna start with the Xfinity race, which was a disappointing end, but it's kind of like how NASCAR goes. It rains every week, and you just gotta hope we make it through the finish. And this time we didn't. But I missed most of the race, but a pretty uneventful. Justin Haley won stage 1, and Noah Gragson won stage 2, and there was no cautions or anything besides stage cautions until lap 76 when Josh Berry spun with the blown tire and stuff like that. Got back going, and it was a fight between the Burtons, Harrison Burton and Jeb Burton, fighting for the lead with Austin Cindric too around that area, and Jeb Burton took the lead before a crash was caused by Joe Graff Jr. behind him.
So bad, honestly.
Yeah.
So bad. He was I don't even know what he was doing. He didn't have a blown tire because if he had a blown tire, he would have gone and hit the wall so much.
I think his tire was like going down at that
His
point.
tire was starting to cord.
It was going
Yeah.
down, but like if it was going down at a slow rate, I would have expected him to not, completely drift up the track right into pretty much the whole back half of the field. Killed so many drivers, Dave. I mean, it was gonna rain anyways, so it really didn't matter. But
Yeah, if
we
you
could have
weren't
got
if you
more
weren't up
race.
front by then, you weren't gonna have a chance.
Yeah.
The way the
But I
rain
mean,
was
it still
coming
would have
in.
been nice to see how the race would have played out if there wasn't a caution, then rain,
Yeah,
He's so
so
bad. I despise him.
this crash took out big players such as Michael Nett, Brandon Jones, and Ty Dillon. And under caution,
Do we want to talk about it?
Oh my god.
Brandon
Yeah,
Jones has been so unlucky this season. I'm just gonna say that. Like he's I think they said it during the broadcast. He's finished inside the top 5 like 4 times, but he's finished outside the top 20 like 4 times.
Yeah, it's been very hit or miss with him so far.
Yeah.
yeah, it's also took out Ty Dillon, which his season has gone way worse than anyone else's. A lot of bad luck, and it kind of sucks.
I feel bad for him, but I mean, I was never really a fan of him, I'd say. Like he was always neutral, I would say. I cheered for him in the not the Daytona 500, when he got the ride
duels.
in Daytona.
Yeah.
The duels.
But yeah, the duels. But like I'm also talking Xfinity. I cheered for him then. Like,
I didn't.
Massive
until he caused the big
wreck,
one,
and then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
killed his teammates and everyone else.
Literally like 3/4 of the field.
Pretty much handed Austin Cindric the win at that point.
No, yeah, he was the only other like truly competitive car that could be up front at that point.
Brett Moffitt was good. Didn't Brett Moffitt switch to Xfinity points?
Yeah, he
like
did.
a dumbass.
No.
At least it's still early in the season.
No, the dumbass part was that he was in trucks points to begin with.
Well, he did it to himself because he was supposed to run Xfinity, and then he switched to trucks right before the season started. And now that they're this is just about halfway for the Xfinity regular season, and he's just now switching his points.
Yeah, there are 8 races in out of like 33 that's in the season, I think.
Yeah, so they still have another No, just about another 18 races to go.
He can.
Almost
I think he
halfway.
can point his way in.
I don't think he
he
can
will,
point his
though.
way in. He'd need to win.
No,
so.
because he
He would need
doesn't
to
get like
win.
he doesn't get like top fives and top tens that
Really, I
that
feel like
anymore.
every time I've watched him,
Well,
he's
he'll
really
run
impressive.
up front, and then something will happen to him at the end of the
Yeah.
race. So I don't know. Right now he sits at 23 points. He is 45th in the Xfinity Series standings. He
Could
has
be worse.
less points than our favorite driver in all of existence, Cody Ware.
Anyways, rain came in and NASCAR called the race like 10 minutes after they road flagged the race. So Jeb Burton is a first time Xfinity winner. Well deserved. I mean, no one really. I mean, we're all like disappointed that they called the race. I mean, like he can't do much else, but like we were all happy that Jeb got a win. You know,
At
it's
least
nice
it
to
was like
see.
Jeb Burton, Could have been like Austin Cindric.
Hey,
Called in right.
hey.
Okay, well, like Austin Cindric winning is bad enough, but then calling a race for Austin Cindric to win, that's worse. It's like two sour
Sorry, at
tastes
least
in
he
your
can
mouth.
get up front.
Yeah. He's
Sorry,
only got
doesn't-
2 wins this season. I thought he was gonna win 20 races. No, he's disappointing this season. I'll be the first to say he's been
No, that's
disappointing.
right. He
No,
only
I agree.
leads the Xfinity Series by 60 points.
No, but in terms of wins, everyone said he was gonna win every race. Everyone said it was in the bag, and he's got 2 wins.
It's also
One is at
59
Daytona.
points.
One is also at Daytona. So I'm not saying anything, but
Are there any really notable finishers? I don't think there really are. I mean, Ryan C got a top 5, Brandon Brown 7th,
And Sieg needed that.
Tommy Joe Martin's got 11th, Timmy Hill 13th.
Dude,
And from there,
I'm so
it's
happy
kinda
it
just
wasn't
like-
Justin Haley
Yeah.
winning the race.
Oh,
If there's anyone that I'm
God.
happy about not winning, it's Justin
Yeah.
Haley.
I mean, it's a calling car, but like one
Yeah,
of the
but it's
best
not
calling
Haley.
drivers. Yeah, nobody
Well,
likes
not
Haley.
Haley or
Except
Allmendinger. I don't
Christian.
really want. I don't like Allmendinger. I'm gonna be completely honest. He's probably like bottom 5 Xfinity for me.
Troy, do you have an
With,
opinion against that?
I'm a bit of an Allmendinger fan.
Yeah,
You mean Allmendinger and
we'll
Okay,
rip on you for your cup driver later.
Well,
Kerbush?
no,
Wait,
don't
We'll
rip
talk
on
about that
him,
later. We'll
bro.
talk about that later.
Do
We'll
I
talk about
hear
that
missing
later.
the playoffs?
Later. We'll talk about that later.
No, don't get
Later.
there. Don't start with me. He's a playoff lock. I don't care.
It's a lock.
Oh,
He's a
All right.
lock.
I'll be sure to clip that. I am clipping that.
He's making it. I don't care what anyone says. He's making it.
Loses out to
Isn't he
Benedetto.
like what, a 1 win?
Somebody got him. You missed the Benedetto at Daytona.
Oh, I would laugh. I despised Benedetto, but I would laugh. That would just be so funny. He's a laugh.
Oh
He's a
my
laugh for the
god!
playoffs.
Honestly, I need Suarez to point his way in too, or at least win. So my prediction is right, and people, because
You
people are
make some
like,
stupid predictions, honestly. You're like the worst
I hate
at predicting.
predicting. I know I suck at predictions.
You also suck
Dude,
at fantasy.
My 2 predictions that I made for my page were actually pretty solid so far that I've done.
I said Truex would have a bounce back year, and I guess that's happening.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not happening.
He's going back to 2019 or 2018.
I would
No,
love
I wouldn't
2019
say that
Truex to
level.
return. He's not 2019. 2019 Truex was another kind of insane. He got like 7 wins, 7 or 8 wins.
I think 6.
No, he did not get 6. I'll list them off right
He
now.
got
600, Dover,
8. Oh my
Sonoma,
god! I don't.
Vegas. He ended up getting Richmond. He got Martinsville, and then on top of that, he got Richmond 1. That's 7.
You talking
Okay,
about
he
2019?
did get 7. Okay, it's my bad. I thought he got 6. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the Cup Series race, the Geico 500.
Geico 500.
Geico 500.
Geico 500.
I guess we can just start off with Larson's engine going up and smoke
Yeah,
5 laps
so-
into the race.
Damn, W, baby.
W.
Take the
Big
outside.
W.
I'll be late for it.
Neither of your guys won the race. I don't know why you're excited like that.
I don't expect Truex to win, though. There's like Talladega and Daytona. Only 2 tracks I don't expect him to win it.
I had high
And Bristol.
expectations
Bristol's
for
no.
Suarez, but he got booted off track.
As much as I want to say, I really predicted all 4 of our fantasy drivers would wreck. All 4 of them, except Newman, really, was in contention for the lead at some point.
Yeah.
Chastain was, first time I'm going to say this, was low-key impressive. Like,
Yeah,
he
he
was
didn't
running
race
up
like a
front.
complete moron this week.
He did throw some
And then he
stupid
gets
blocks.
wrecked going to
Oh
the
yeah,
end of the
no,
race.
he barely even got wrecked, bro. He didn't even get touched the whole entire time he was on the below the yellow line. So the race gets underway, and Larson blows an engine. He's out quick. I heard there was like some like metal thing in front of the radiator that just like killed the car and blew the
Someone
engine.
at
So that's
Hendrick getting fired tonight.
yeah. So we move on. Lap 40, Joey Gase and a Davey Allison's tribute. Joey Gase stuff. We saw this coming. I think he blew a tire or something, but he spun. He got minor damage, but I'm not even gonna say his day was over. I mean, like, I don't know. His day kind of continued from there.
And then coming to
Move
the end of
on.
stage 1. Was
Yeah.
that the next incident?
Yeah,
They
it
were all
was.
racing hard for the lead. I've been kind of torn on whether this was a racing incident or a stupid move, and I've kind of settled on it's more of a racing incident. Because Hamlin looked low. Logano kind of, like, he didn't throw a big block, but he kind of
Didn't
moved
even
down.
move, really.
Yeah,
But
he didn't
Stenhouse kind of
move.
went down. Like, Stenhouse kind of hit Hamlin in a weird spot, which kind of got Hamlin messed up, and he hit. Like, it was kind of just a racing incident, all pushing, going
It
for
was
the
an
stage
accordion
win.
effect.
Yeah.
What it was.
Yeah, and which would send Logano, like, the very first big incident ended in a flip, and that was Joey Logano. I was kind of glad to see him flip, not gonna lie. Has he ever flipped?
Yeah.
Dover
Dover?
2009. That's
Oh,
all I
I
remember.
forgot about
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, he flipped, and I kind of just like I was really calm with it. I was like, "Hey, look, Logano just flipped." I was kind of happy inside, but like, hey, I don't want to jump the gun unless he just died. But he was okay, and
Yeah.
the race moved on, and Logano did not win, and he was not close to a win, so I'm happy with that.
Well, no shit. He was out of the race.
Yeah, good.
Dumbass.
Matt
Anyways,
Benedetto picks up his first career stage win.
yeah. Also involved in that wreck was Stenhouse, who got damaged.
Stenhouse.
Oh my god,
Went
screwed
right
his day
over
up.
Bubba, did it not?
It did. Bubba got minor damage, but it didn't affect him at all. We move on. And stage 2 was a pretty quiet, just a lot of hard racing until the final few laps where Bubba Wallace in the lead, and he is blocking a lot and really being really aggressive for the stage win, and no one was able to get past him. But you wanna take this, Trucks fan?
Well, Bubba was leading, and Hamlin, he got 2 speeding penalties. He got the speeding penalty to come down pit road, so he comes back, and then he speeds again. So instead of, which he was by far the driver who would get his lap back because he was in that pack. He was by far that driver. But he decided, I'm going to race, I wanted to get it back. He wants to prove that, he can come back and win this. Well, I think I'm not really going to blame Keselowski, really. I'm going to blame Hamlin, because if Hamlin wasn't doing all that stupid, he was literally going from lane to lane and like doing these stupid moves. I just thought that was kind of unnecessary, in my opinion. I get it. He's racing for his lap back, but he's going to get it back anyways. And he throws a block, and Keselowski goes up to the top to try and maybe get a run and push from Hamlin. And Truex just nails the back of Hamlin, and there's a pileup. Hamlin was involved. I don't think Hamlin got much damage. I don't think
He got
any
a good
damage.
bit of damage.
Did he?
It didn't end his race, but he was able to continue, but he was a few laps down and wasn't able to hang with the pack really.
Thank God.
Truex
I'm so
Thank
happy
God.
Hamlin
Truex hit
wasn't
the
in
wall
contention
head
for a
on.
super speedway
Truex
race.
hit the wall head on and kept going. That was impressive. He didn't hit it hard, but he hit the wall head on. Bowman was
then
involved. That would end his day. Elliott was involved.
That didn't end his day.
Byron?
And
Was
Byron
Byron
was involved too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
But
was pretty
Chase and
much
Byron
it.
were able to continue. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention before this, but Kurt Busch, he what was the problem? Brake lines or something like that.
I don't know.
And
It smells like garbage to me.
anyways, his car lit on fire, and they got it like fixed up and everything, and it all cleared away, but he was like 6 laps down when he came back on track. He was kind of just there.
Let's talk about Kurt Busch's season.
I don't want to
You know
talk
what?
about Kurt Busch's season. It's terrible.
Let's talk about two drivers, Kurt Busch and Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto.
Why do you gotta
was
put it?
what?
Oh,
No, wait.
why-
Shush. Matt DiBenedetto was what, 32nd in points? And what is he now? 17th?
17th. He's 12 points out of the cut line right now.
Isn't Kurt Busch behind him?
He is by 1 point. He
By
is
1
by
point.
1 point.
So, hey, Kurt Busch fan down there, what's your excuse this time?
Yeah, you're turning away from the camera.
Terrible luck. I could go through every race and tell you terrible luck that's happened every race.
All
Do
right,
it.
but explain why
I'll do it.
explain why DiBenedetto, who was 32nd in points after 3 weeks, is he's ahead of him now.
Because the Benedetto has a stage win and multiple top 10s and top 5s, and Kurt Busch has multiple mechanical failures and getting wrecked by Denny Hamlin and bad cars. So
now
When
he's
you get
going to start
wrecked-
blaming the cars. He's going to start
No,
blaming
no,
the cars.
no, there was
remember,
one-
It's the Chip
remember there was one
Ganassi
bad
effect.
car.
It's the Chip
Ganassi
Ganassi
was
effect.
good.
Every Chip Ganassi driver, it's the cars. Is it not?
no,
remember,
because even
remember
Chase
that?
Elliott gets
Remember when
bad
he said
cars
Ganassi was as
sometimes.
good as Hendrick with their cars, and he's
Yeah,
blaming
they
bad
are.
cars now.
They are.
He's blaming bad cars now.
No, because
No,
Kurt
don't switch
Busch's
back. Don't switch
equipment.
back. You're switching back.
Because Kurt Busch's
You're switching
equipment
back.
should be
Nope,
able to.
nope, no.
I'm
He is right.
Even Chase Elliott has bad cars sometimes. Kyle Larson had a bad car at Richmond. Even Bowman has bad cars sometimes. It happens to the best teams. So Chip Ganassi Racing has championship caliber equipment, and even they have bad cars sometimes.
What?
Maybe it's just Kurt.
What?
And I'll stand by that.
with
They have
Kyle-
championship contending equipment with a good enough
Kyle
driver.
Larson. With
With a good
Kyle
enough
Larson,
driver.
I would argue Kyle Larson has been better than Kurt Busch at Chip Ganassi. With Kyle Larson,
Yeah.
they were barely a round of 8 contender. Other than like 2017, they were barely a round of 8 contender. Don't tell me you think that one car in that 42 car driven by Kurt Busch and Ross Chastain are championship
I said with the right drivers. And
No, you
Kurt
didn't.
Busch, I did actually say you could go back on the recording. I was on the screen recording, but still, just to prove this whole entire point. But with the right drivers, yes. So like Ross Chastain isn't even close, but like Kurt Busch, we saw he made the round of 8 last year, and he was putting up a really good fight.
Lucky win.
Yeah, he got him with the win, but even in the round of 8, during it, he put up a really good fight and was a top 5 driver each of the round.
Yeah, he put up a really good
races.
fight. He was like 88 points back.
Well, yeah, because he
Was
didn't
he
have the playoff points all season.
Maybe you should have been better in the regular
Yeah,
season.
you should.
Well, yeah, but he's still.
Kurt
But
Busch-
it's still
Kurt Busch right
championship
now should
equipment
be-
because he's able to run consistently in the top 5, top 10 each race. That's championship
He's not
equipment.
top
I'm
five.
sorry. Hang on. Wait here.
No,
I'll
no,
use
no.
a better example than DiBenedetto. Wasn't Blaney like the same amount of points as DiBenedetto through the first 2 or 3
Well,
races?
Well, Blaney also has won stages after stages and stages and wins. Yeah, it doesn't. You can't put that. He didn't.
He only has
didn't-
one win. He only has one win, not
Yeah,
multiple.
and how many stage points? He swept the stages at Martinsville, and how
Yeah.
many stage wins does he have before
He
that?
has 3. He has 3 this
He has
season.
3. So there's 3 stage points to Kurt Busch's 0, and 1 win
That's
to
only
Kurt
3
Busch's
in the
0.
playoffs. That's only 3.
But even when Kurt
Or
Busch
not in
something
the
doesn't go
playoffs.
wrong
We're talking
for Kurt
actual
Busch,
points right now.
he's-
So
Okay.
even if
So Blaney is above Kurt Busch in points because Blaney has been more consistent and been faster and been getting
he's been more
better.
consistent. He's
also
been
been better.
consistent.
Yeah, because Kurt Busch has been having a lot of bad luck, a lot of mechanical failures, and he got taken out by Denny Hamlin. That's all Amanda lost points. He was like plus 40 over the cut line like 5 races ago. But after all the bad luck and him having all these mechanical failures, it all adds up in the end. And now he's below the cutoff line. And
I'm gonna say
he
it.
can't do that much about it.
When Kurt Busch something doesn't go wrong, he's not even that much of a threat. Like, when was the last time since he's been with Chip Ganassi, let's just say, he has actually had the best car. Not stealing a win at Kentucky. Exactly.
never happened. It
He's
never
not been the
happened.
best driver. He's not in the last like 3 seasons. He's not been the
I
best
haven't
driver.
said he's been like I've never said he's been either like a top 8 driver. He's been around there, but like he's still like people are sleeping on him. You know, people have been
Dude,
sleeping
he's
on the
switching
I'm
guy.
not
back
sleeping
so
on
much.
a
His
guy
entire
who's
Switching
outside
back
career.
the
and forth
playoffs
so
right
much.
I'm
now.
not switching back and forth.
Yes,
Dude,
you are.
people have been sleeping on him for 20 years now. I'm not joking.
I'm sorry, and carry the one. He's won a championship in the past 20 years.
Yeah, people he's sleeping on
Dumbass.
him. He kind of, yeah. Even with the championship, people slept on Matt Kenseth. He
Chris,
still competed for
He won a
championships.
championship, correct?
Yeah, he did.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is ahead of him in points, and I'm pretty sure Chris Buescher is as well.
Yeah, they both are.
A
They're both
championship
in the
driver should
playoffs
not
right
be
now.
lower. I get it. He has
Hang
had
on,
bad luck.
hang on. Let's ignore Busher and Stenhouse because they've been pretty consistent, right? Even with his win to start the year, McDowell is still ahead of Kurt Busch's points.
You're okay. You guys are comparing a Chip Ganassi today to a Roush in 2004.
Okay,
Like you're
and
saying,
you're the
like
one that
even
said he's
though,
a championship
even
driver still.
no, I said his championship equipment. I said his championship equipment with the right driver.
It's not championship equipment.
And if it goes out correctly and the team gets their stuff together and Kurt Busch, gains some stuff and they find what they're missing, then yeah, they're not Denny Hamlin or they're not Ryan Blaney level, but they're competing for the round of 8 if they get the playoff points they need.
They won't, though.
That's what I mean by
They're not.
championship.
I think
Because
that
you could agree that Ryan Blaney is championship equipment. He's not, and you could say the same for all Hendrick, all Gibbs, and all Penske, and they're championship equipment. But that doesn't mean all the drivers are championship favorites. But with the right order of things, and if things work out, then there is a point where they could win the championship, especially with this playoff system where you could easily steal a championship.
where would you say Kurt Busch ranks? Out of the drivers right now, would you say he's a round of 8 driver?
No,
Would you
I'd
say he's
say-
a round of 12 driver?
I'd say he's around a 12 driver. Because if you look at the guys that are in the playoffs right now,
No,
you're
okay,
gonna tell me that Stenhouse and Busher and maybe even Dylan are gonna run better than him.
Did you see what Dylan did last year?
When they've
Well,
been more
yeah, I
consistent
mean,
and
use Dylan loosely, but like
I'm not
bro, I
saying he's a bad driver. I don't think he's a round of 12 driver, though. I'm going to be completely honest. You got all 4 Hendrick cars who are on fire, except Chase Elliott, who's been pretty mediocre this season. You've got
he's got more points
all
than
4.
Larson.
Is he
Does he?
actually?
Yeah, he's got 6 more points than
Let's
Larson.
go.
That's surprising. Larson's gone on a pretty bad streak since he lost Atlanta, though.
Good.
Yeah.
Everything's gone downhill since then. Got all 4 Gibbs cars minus, I'd say, Kyle Busch. Even Christopher Bell's been pretty fast. He's been better than I think most people expected. You got the 3 Penske cars who are all championship caliber. It's with 9 drivers. I would say some of these drivers who are in the playoffs right now can just heat up.
If you include all 4 Hendrick, all 4 Gibbs,
Yeah, that's
and the 3
11.
Penske, that's 11.
You got Kurt Busch, who I think can make the round of 12. I'm not saying he won't. I think he can.
I think that 12th place car is Kurt Busch, Austin Dillon, guys like that.
I would even argue Chris Buescher. The man has been on fire this year. I think Roush has really
and
took him.
JTG are like, all right, last year this car, let's just go hard as much as we can. So I think that's what's happening with those 2 teams. And honestly,
even I would
worked out
say
pretty well.
a driver he's not in the playoffs right now, but a driver like Bubba Wallace, starts picking up momentum. We know that car is fast. We've seen that car have speed at short tracks and super speedways. Kind of really just needed to get it together everywhere else, but they get speed. I think it could be better than Kurt Busch. I think
Bubba's
most of the
biggest
teams
problem
could be.
is with the amount of road courses we have. He's
Kurt
not
Busch
good at Bubba.
or Bubba. Oh,
Yeah,
Bubba,
he's not good at road courses. And there's almost too many of them for him to be able to safely point his way in and not have to worry about other guys winning, because it's going to be very hard for him if he doesn't win. I mean, that's the case with some guys already. I mean, sure, we're going to
Eric Almirola.
Oh, Eric Almirola needs a lot of help. We already know that.
He needs help, but fun fact: this was the first race all this season 2 Stuart Haas cars finished top 10, and they all finished top 15 actually.
Yeah, they all finished top 15. I saw someone mention that, and they're like, "Oh, look, SHR is back." It's like, no, it's Talladega. Talladega does not count. I'm sorry, but when you have Michael McDowell and DiBenedetto running for the win, it doesn't count. I'm sorry. Talladega and Daytona are all about if you can get the right amount of momentum at the right time.
Troy's not gonna like this. Could that 12th driver be Matt DiBenedetto?
Nah, that's cap. That's actual cap. Besides Talladega, he has not run consistently top 10.
Sorry, but I can tell you're starting to get offended. You're getting aggressive.
Yeah, because you guys aren't making fair arguments on it all.
We're getting under your skin.
Because it's annoying.
Is it?
Anyway,
yeah,
okay, we
let's
gotta
actually
move
talk
on
about
with
the race.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
All right, so we're gonna move on. So we had a good long run after we had 46 laps of long runs. We had pit strategy and we had guys saving fuel before Quinn Hoff blew a tire or something like that in front of the pack and just killed the field. Well, he didn't kill the field, but he killed himself.
GD Quinhoff. Oh man, another one of those terrible drivers.
Yeah.
Dude is so bad.
So that brought a caution that saved a lot, that changed a lot for the race. Everyone was good on fuel now, and was all run to the finish. We had a lot of strategy playing too. So then we had a 9-lap run where all the Penske cars hooked up and were drafting together, and the Benedetto had the lead. And it was also yeah, it was all single file, and then a caution. What was a caution? Was it? Oh, okay. Truex had a flat tire, and the debris from the tire went on the front stretch, and NASCAR was forced to bring it out. So this went to overtime, sponsored by Credit One Bank. And it was mainly between the Penske cars. Well, it was mainly between the Fords. Yeah, it was all the Fords. It was Keselowski, DiBenedetto, Harvick.
It was the Fords and Eric
Blaney.
Jones. That was really what it was.
Eric Jones wasn't up there that far.
Jones got up to 4th in the final lap, and then he got spun. He got wrecked. Got wrecked by Kyle.
Yeah, because he had a huge run coming to the white or something like that, or like
he was. I thought he was gonna win. That's like 3.
I wish he did.
He has so much speed at these super speedways. He knows how to navigate them. He's the most underrated super speedway racer in the field.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, Keselowski had a push from who was helping him?
Was it Buescher? No, it was McDowell.
No, it was McDowell. So, Keselowski had help from McDowell, and DiBenedetto had help from Blaney, and they were like tandem drafting, and DiBenedetto was switching lanes, stuff like that. And he decided to go high when Blaney did not have that big of a run. That he had to block high, and at this exact point, Keselowski had a big run. Since McDowell was pushing him, and Keselowski got under DiBenedetto and made the pass for the lead. And from there, into 3 and 4 front stretch, they couldn't really get beside him and pass him.
I thought McDowell got him for a second. For like a split second, coming to the trial, there was like a thought in my mind. What if McDowell pulls out and gets it?
God.
I would have lost it.
I would have lost it.
I'm gonna blame Tyler Reddick for that finish,
McDowell would have won it if
Byron
Byron worked
didn't
with him and just push him.
swing
Yeah,
outside.
I think Byron was
But-
thinking McDowell would get to his outside, side draft him hard, and then Byron would go around the inside and get him. That's what I think Byron was hoping for. But
Yeah.
Keselowski really just hooked that yellow line.
a lot of notable finishers here. So of course McDowell with a third. That's his third top 10 of the season. Actually fourth. Because 500 and road course and Homestead and then this. So his fourth top 10 in the season, which is really unexpected. DiBenedetto ends up finishing fifth. It's heartbreaking for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
That's his
disappointing. I'd say
problem.
it's kind of
And
sad.
I would say I was expecting it. I was more expecting him to choke than to actually win.
Yeah,
I would put more money on DiBenedetto to choke than to win.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sixth,
Gralla?
Kaz Gralla.
Kaz Gralla? Wow.
Wow. Where did he
Wow.
come from? I've watched
Literally,
the
where
restart.
did he come from?
Yeah, I watched the restart a couple times, and I just watched for his car. Oh my god! At some points, it was crazy. Like when Suarez got knocked off the track, and
That
everyone
scared
freaked
me. I
up.
thought Suarez
He-
was gonna go straight and kill the field.
Oh,
And I look like some NASCAR Heat 5 mood. You know when someone shoves you under the apron and you kind of just say, you know what, you're not gonna make it through the turn one, and you just go straight. That's what that was looking like for a split
Yeah.
second. Had that moment
yeah.
happen.
So
way
when
too many times.
Suarez got knocked below the line, the spotters was saying like check up, and everyone in front of Gralla didn't really check up that much. But like Gralla hit the brakes a lot, and he actually lost a lot of momentum. So he had to build a lot of that back up. When he was like in the back of like the main draft.
Yeah, he was on.
From this
He was
When
on
you
the
also
bottom
look at
few
it,
wide.
Yeah.
he was also like 30th all race. Same with Eric Jones.
was.
Eric Jones didn't exist until the final
Restart.
when he took the lead. No, he took the lead at one point. He passed Bubba.
And Suarez ran like mid-20s all race, and then he came in the top 10 randomly in a really fast car. I wish he didn't get knocked off track, because he would have had like a top 10 definitely.
I honestly wish there was no big wrecks. Honestly, even if Logano and Truex and Bowman and Larson were all still in it, I think it would have been a fantastic finish. Even if Logano were to win, I think we would have had a photo finish.
Well, yeah, think about it. If you have Logano at the end of a super speedway race,
I was surprised they went that far, honestly, without wrecking, coming into the trial. I feel bad for Chastain. It's the first time I'll say that. I feel bad for that man. The man ran pretty damn well that whole entire race. He was top 10, I'd say, almost the whole entire race. And it was just kind of sad to see him go 200 miles per hour straight into the wall. Coming to the line, that was pretty sad.
it wasn't
Same with Eric
200.
Jones.
No,
No,
slowed
but
down quite a bit because our buddy got a good video of him going into the wall.
Everyone stole it.
Yeah, I know. Everyone stole it, dude.
Everyone stole it and didn't give him any credit except me. Poor guy. Move on. Austin Dillon. I think this is his third or fourth straight top 10. So props to him.
how are you going to mention Austin Dillon, not mention William Byron? His top 10 streak is longer than Denny
Oh
Hamlin.
yeah, his top 10
Those are the
streak
longest
is
top 10 streak
crazy.
now.
Yeah, last year I was like, yo, he didn't deserve this ride. Like, kick him after the season. But like,
Like this year,
Fugal
he's
changed
better
it
than
for him.
Chase Elliott.
oh
It's all
yeah,
Rudy Fugal.
yeah. Blame Canals. He really was killing the team.
Chad Knaus was out of his prime, anyways.
Yeah.
He wasn't even in his prime in 2016.
I
no way.
didn't know crew chiefs like had like a prime or like any of that.
I believe
but
it.
Well,
Chad
yeah,
Knaus
if a
kinda
driver
showed
can
it.
have a prime. Chad Knaus is just not up to date with all the new changes and stuff. That's what it was.
Yeah.
No,
It's
they
just like how
everything's
you
bad.
see teams. You can
on.
see teams be having in prime. Because look at Roush; they were so dominant in the early to mid 2000s, and then one guy leaves here, one guy leaves there, and all of a sudden they're mid pack until this year. Because that's what it's been. They've been mid pack until this year. For the past what? Since Edwards left in 2011 or 2013.
2014, 14.
2014.
And
Yeah.
even then, he wasn't that good because he was kind of average for the last year or two
Yeah.
that he was there.
Yeah, he won a couple races, but he really wasn't as good.
Oh yeah, you
Moving
can
on
also
with
think of
yeah,
Byron. He's kind of pairing with an old friend that he was really good with. Wasn't Rudy Fiegel his crew
trucks.
chief in
Chuck's
trucks?
or Chuck's
Yeah.
crew chief. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like they already knew each other, so they were already good with each other at one point. So I think that's a W for Byron. I like to see him do well.
In 12th, Anthony Alfredo.
No. Yeah, he did.
No,
What the
Yeah.
hell?
I
he
can
raced. He
yeah.
raced.
He actually
He can
finished a
he
race?
do you
He
know
finished a
what's
race?
crazy? I hate to be so like hard on him. Like he couldn't even stay with the lead pack. And this is like a front row motorsports car. He couldn't even stay with
This
the
is
lead
the
pack.
same car Michael McDowell who was running.
Like I swear,
What?
like he wasn't even playing
Finished
like
third.
conservative or any of that. He literally like
Well, it's because he just doesn't
you know,
know anything cup wise.
Doesn't know anything race. Not to be mean, but like
Not
he's
racing. I wouldn't say racing.
No, not
He
racing.
knows
I didn't
some
mean
stuff,
like.
but
Yeah, I know. I
cup
know he knows
racing?
some stuff, but has he even had a full year of Xfinity? Nope.
Nope.
no.
So I
Hasn't even
mean,
had a full year of trucks.
it was a last minute decision, and I don't blame him for taking the ride whatsoever. It's just it sucks to see him not do good.
I think front row just needed someone that could fill out the full season in terms of sponsors for that second car. Because with him with iRacing, so I think that's a big reason why.
Yeah,
But there's no way he's gonna win rookie of the year, even with how
Who else is
mediocre
fighting?
Briscoe's been.
Briscoe. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Briscoe was okay. No, he wasn't. Actually, Briscoe was pretty bad that race too.
He finished
11th.
11th.
Yeah,
So,
but this is the end. He was like 30th all race.
And 13th was Ryan Newman. He actually got the free pass on that last caution. He was 27th. So 27th to 13th.
I would say that's kind of disappointing for him.
That's disappointing for him.
Yeah.
But like his comeback in the last 2 laps.
Yeah.
Caution didn't come
But
out. It would have been 27th. But
You also had a
13th
few
is a big
guys beating
difference.
and banging that were.
And
messing
Chris
up
is
their hero.
lucky. Chris is
Guys.
lucky. Newman saved him.
14th is Ryan Priest. He almost won a stage. He had a really fast car in like the first half or first 3 quarters. And just couldn't get the
JTG is here to stay. Like I think many
Yeah.
people kind of like they. I'm not gonna say they're still gonna Stano's still gonna make the playoffs. I think they're gonna be flirting with that cut line the whole year.
Oh yeah.
Like this team really went from I'd say a bottom tier terrible team last year with Ryan Priest going 4 races in a row finishing dead last, and then Stanos was extremely disappointing last year. So now both of them are top 20 contenders on a regular basis. It's pretty good, even for a part-time car.
This year's been a little bit more chaotic in general, though. So you never know who's going to finish where.
I
one
feel
last
like we've
shout
had
out.
several.
Go ahead.
Go say what you're gonna say.
All right, so one last shout out to Harrison Burton, his Cup debut. He was top 10 before the last caution and got booted straight out of line and went to 20th when he finished from the last restart.
Didn't he finish?
Yeah,
sideways,
really
though?
impressive.
Didn't he
Did
get
he?
spun or something like that?
I don't know. He didn't. I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he did.
But yeah, he brought him 20th, which Cup debut. That's pretty much that's pretty impressive, especially for the car. But it's Talladega. But yeah, that shows a lot for him. That's about it. Everyone else from on back is kind of
Yeah,
kind of that.
it's kind of that.
Yeah,
Just talk about fantasy then.
I said we could do
Something
fantasy.
quick.
yeah.
So
Okay.
fantasy. Caden is ahead right now by 1 point over me and Troy. And
Oh my
is 6
god,
points
wasn't
behind
it
me and
last
Troy.
like 3 weeks
Yeah,
ago?
I was like 6 points behind Chris, who was first.
Yeah, everyone. Troy and I were the main ones, like majority of the races so far. Nick started off good and then just dropped like a rock. So now going into Kansas, Nick will have first pick, and he will be choosing from Newman, Custer, Truex, Jones, or Harvick.
Whatever. I'll go Harvard.
Harvick.
Who do I have?
I'll be up next because I
Oh.
finished behind Troy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So What other races do we have this round? I'm not sure if I want to use them.
Kansas, Darlington,
Dover,
Charlotte, I
Coda, and
think. Oh,
Charlotte.
Dover, yeah. Dover, Charlotte, Coda.
You know
Coda.
what? With Kansas running the high line is fast. So give me Mr. Tyler Reddick. Troy?
Who do I have?
You have Almirola, Bowman, Truex, Custer, and Keselowski.
Bowman and Keselowski are both good ones. Bowman's got a Darlington,
Let's say
Keselowski.
you also have Coda and Charlotte. So
They're
and
both
Dover.
good at. They're both good at Dover. I kind of want to save Keselowski for who would I have again? Because besides Keselowski and Bowman, who else do I have?
Truex, Custer, and
Chastain.
Almirola.
Truex, Costa. Do I want to just pick Almirola for this? He really isn't that good anywhere else.
Just take the sacrifice here.
Yeah, I just sacrifice it here and pick Almirola. I'll risk it all. He's on a good streak, kind of.
Caden, that does not, or that means you cannot take Almirola because Troy.
I was
doesn't
not
beat-
gonna take Almirola. That's fine. Can you name off
You
my
ha-
drivers? I just
You
know I have a terrible
Kurt,
lineup.
Chase, Chastain, and Briscoe outside of Almirola.
Oh my god.
Kurt, Chase,
Oh my
Chastain, and Briscoe.
god.
Yeah, I'm saving Briscoe for Coda. I think that's a
How could
no-brainer.
you- Dude, this is like the worst possible lineup for Caden.
Chase, Kurt, and
Don't pick
Chastain.
Chase.
No, I'm
Kurt
not
ran
picking
top
Chase.
5 here last year in the
No,
fall.
I know if I don't pick Chase, Chase is gonna go out there and win the race. That's how it's gonna be. But I don't want to use Chase here because I saw how good he was in the Coke 600 last year.
Coda's
know
also
Kurt,
coming
You also
up.
have a road course too.
Yeah, you also have
Yeah.
Coda.
That's true, but I also have Briscoe. Where else is Briscoe gonna run good? I could just use him somewhere random. I could just use him and put him at Dover. I don't know, bro.
Oh, you think? Yeah. Make your pick.
I'm gonna do Chastain.
All right. Okay. Control yourself now. Control yourself now.
I'm gonna lose it.
We have Andy Lally, who is a veteran road racer. He has won the Rolex 24 class wins multiple times. And he has a pretty good experience in NASCAR, and he has quite a bit of success in the Xfinity Series too, with a couple top 5s. So we're just gonna get on with questions from all of us. So this is a question I thought of earlier, and so you're very experienced with the endurance races. So when you moved into NASCAR, did having the endurance races under your belt and know how to I can't word this that well. Were the 500-mile races like easier, I guess?
Yeah. So like a lot of guys that work their way up the stock car ladder and the NASCAR ladder, the first time that they do something that long is when they get to Cup. You know, they're used to 200-mile races or 300-mile races, where I am definitely used to being in the car for a really long period of time. We'll run up to 3-hour stints. So the 500 can be a long one. You obviously get a heck of a lot more yellows there. But we will run like 2 or 3 hours, get a few hours break, run 2 or 3 hours again, and we'll run that through the night, like on a 24-hour. On a 12-hour, it's something sort of similar, obviously, just for a shorter time period. So, yeah, when I was running Cup, it was my cardio was at its peak. You know, I was racing mountain bikes. My jiu-jitsu practice was going really well in full tilt. So it definitely made the transition to the hot races and to the long races a heck of a lot easier. Yeah.
And then we highlight on road racing and endurance racing and all that. What was that your first main option that you want to get into, getting into racing, or were there other ways you wanted to go?
So from a very young age, all I knew was NASCAR. I knew I wanted to be a race car driver from the time I was about 5 years old on. And growing up, you know, in the early 80s and experiencing that, all I knew was what I either saw on TV or the magazines that were on the shelf at the grocery store. And so I didn't grow up in a racing family. I didn't grow up in a with people that were even interested in auto racing. So everything I did was by myself, learning through that, and I became a massive NASCAR fan. I wanted to be in the Alabama gang before I could point to Alabama on the map. And so my early heroes were Bobby Allison, were Neil Bonnet. I was a huge Richard Petty fan. Obviously, everybody was back in the day there. And I became a big Davey Allison fan as I got older and started racing go-karts and stuff like that. And so my opportunity came from two really great people. I played soccer from a very young age, probably about 5 years old on, until I was a freshman in high school. And when I was 13, I didn't start racing go-karts until I was 13 years old. And I wanted to. My parents just had no interest in helping me out to do that. And that's a whole nother side story for another time. But I did finally get a go-kart when I was 13. Actually, I was 12. It was just before my 13th birthday. And when my parents saw that after the first year, it was the most dedicated that I had been to any other thing in my entire life, then they really got behind me. They thought this was just some dumb fad, something that I needed to kind of just get out of my system. But they saw that I was diving deeper into the mechanical end of things and wanting to learn more. And for a young kid that really wasn't interested in that much schoolwork or anything like that, my desire to learn the auto racing side of things, they were aware enough to be like, hey, this is actually something that he's driven for, he's driving toward, and really has a desire and motivation to work at. They were very cool and became helpful, and woke up those early Sunday mornings to take me to the local go-kart track and stuff like that. As that progressed, like I said, it wasn't a racing family so much. And as that progressed and my races became more and more and bigger, the only sport that I played everything. I still play everything, but I play it all casually, all sorts of sports. But I still played soccer. And I went to my coach when I was 14, maybe just before I was 15. I think I was 14. And I told him, I'm like, hey, I got to quit. I'm done. And he was surprised. He's like, you've been playing your whole life. What are you talking about? And I said, I'm going to be a race car driver. And we race go-karts on Sundays and soccer's on Sundays. And I'm racing too many go-karts now. And I can't do this. Sorry. Racing is taking precedence over everything. And he's like, okay, you're going to be a race car driver. How are you going to be a race car driver? And no kidding, my zero comprehension of what really goes on in the racing world. I was like, well, I'll probably race go-karts for a while. And if I can win in that, I'll probably maybe get into some sprint car racing like I see on Thursday Night Thunder. And then maybe, Roger Penske will give me a call and I'll either race his Indy car or a stock car. And he laughed, obviously, as anybody would that's familiar with auto racing, and how absurd me skipping all those rungs on the ladder is. Like, I'm going to go-kart racing, World of Outlaws, Sprint Cup, Winston Cup back in the day. And he goes, do you know I'm a crew chief for a local race team? And I was like, no, what? Like, how insane. My soccer coach is a volunteer crew chief for a small local race team. And he told me it was SCCA and EMRA and two local road racing associations. And we had a track. I grew up on Long Island in New York, about 35 minutes outside of New York City, east. And if you go way out east to like the Hamptons, there was a racetrack called Bridgehampton, and it was a world famous racetrack, road course. And I just knew nothing about endurance sports car racing. And my soccer coach introduced me to a gentleman who owned a local car dealer. My soccer coach, Pete Madsen, introduced me to a gentleman named Walter Simoninger, who owned a local dealership. And literally over lunch or dinner at a diner, we shook hands, and we did a deal for me to do 3 races as his teammate in endurance sports car racing. It was a tiny little Toyota MR2, 150 horsepower. And that was my jump from go-karts into cars. And if it wasn't for those 2 guys both pushing for me and believing in me, I'd be a firefighter in New York City right now. There's not a chance I would have made it, without a doubt. So it's a cool story. That's how I ended up sports car racing over stock car racing, because I didn't have any connections. And then once I established myself in the sports car side, I would speak to anybody that would listen to see if they'd let me drive their stock cars.
That is awesome. That's honestly probably, I would probably say that's, in terms of just general story, not funny or not, certain category, that's probably the best coming up story we've had so far of anyone we've had on.
It's a legit thing. I mean, I don't know if I believe in fate or anything like that. But that's a hard one to deny right there. That was a pretty wild, crazy time in my life, where the stars aligned, and you meet the right people and you get the right opportunities at the right time, and then perform well when you get those opportunities. Man, it's crazy what can happen.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly, great. Anyone else?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
go.
you
I
go.
know you're
Something?
just fighting at the chomp.
I've been waiting. I was just gonna ask, what's your favorite motorsport event that you've done in all of your career? Like when it comes to any race or whatever that you've done.
So the 24 hours of Daytona is what I'm known for. That's what I've built a lot of my reputation on. But probably the most fun I have is in stock cars on road courses. So I wouldn't say the most fun time that I've ever had, but probably the most exhilarating and the most dreamlike was my very first Sprint Cup start in 2009. We were a go or go home car. We were sort of like a second car at TRG. David Gilliland was running full time in the main car, and they entered me as basically a second car. And David and I were both go or go homers. I had done 7 truck races and 2 Xfinity races, maybe 3 Xfinity races. It was Busch Series back then. And then the next year, they wanted to see if I would do the Cup race at the Glen and qualify a second car in. And the team had just gotten a new sponsor, Tech Slayer, which you guys now see on RCR cars, juniors cars, and stuff like that. But we were the first people to bring Tech Slayer into NASCAR, and it was on Gilliland's car, and I was actually there. My team owner owned a winery, so his winery was on my car, and David's car was a pile of junk that weekend. I remember he was struggling with a bunch of different things, and he ended up missing the show. And he had gone out probably, so back then, this was 2009, the go or go homers would go last. And so you'd kind of know what times you were shooting for, and we would all go together so that the weather was the closest on the stock car stuff. And at Watkins Glen, it's single car qualifying. You go out, you come by, you hit 1 lap, and that was it. And my team owner walked up and he goes, "David missed the race." you got to do this. I was like, dude, I've been waiting my whole life to try and qualify for a Winston Cup, Nextel Cup, Sprint Cup. I want to be in Cup. And so I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, it's the pressure I need right before I go out. And I'm thinking through my lap and stuff. And we went down and we threw down and we qualified 15th. And there was like maybe almost 50 cars there. It was like 48 cars. There was a bunch of guys going home. So we qualified right behind Tony Stewart. I out-qualified Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin. It was the coolest thing in the world. So there was this euphoric moment when I came across start finish. I had no idea. Like I thought the lap was good. I had no idea. And then they just started screaming in the radio. And I could barely contain myself. You cross start finish at Watkins Glen, and then you go through turn 1, and then you make a U-turn to come up the thing, and you go straight to Tech, and they get out. And I got out of the car. I heard them screaming, so I knew we made the race. So I was just psyched that we made the race. And then as I get out of my car, Boris Said comes over and he slaps me on the back and he goes, "Good job, top 15." And I'm like, top 15? What? And so that was pretty cool. And that whole race, that whole weekend was the Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is New York, so it's my home state. I live in Atlanta now, but it's my favorite racetrack. It's the short course or the long course. I love them both. And so to be able to make my Cup debut at Watkins Glen, at my favorite track, and then stick it in the field like we did under pressure, was pretty awesome. And that was my favorite race. So any of the stock car road races are my favorite race. The Daytona 24 hours, my favorite race, but that one in particular was just a pretty amazing moment. I dragged that question on for a while there.
Oh no, that's okay. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was
especially for a guy like Boris Said, probably one of the most known road ringers in all of NASCAR. That would just be awesome. I couldn't imagine that.
That was pretty cool.
You should race Watkins Glen in 2022. You know, all four of us, we're gonna be there. Hopefully.
So last year before COVID, the dates move around on IMSA. On the races that I do a little bit each time, but for the last 10 years, we've been racing at Road America when NASCAR goes to Watkins Glen. And then in 2020, they moved Road America by 1 week and it let me go to the Glen. And I had a deal in Xfinity and it was going to be awesome. And I was so psyched to go do it. And then they wipe out Watkins Glen and take away all those races for all that stuff last year. And then this year for 2021, they moved the schedule back around and make it a conflict with Road America again. So I can't get to Watkins Glen. I've been wanting to get to Watkins Glen for so long. But unfortunately my main job is in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship. And I've got a loyalty to John Potter, my teammate Magnus Racing there. So that's where I got to go. I love the Glen and I love that race. We still get to do the 6 hours of the Glen there in late June. But I'd love to come back in August and race the Glen again. It's where I got my first top 10 in Xfinity, and I've had some pretty amazing moments there.
Nick,
That's track.
Yeah, I got a couple questions. My first question was kind of just about, obviously you've switched back and forth between stock cars and sports cars for like a decade plus now, but I was wondering if there's still any challenges or any learning curve that you still have to deal with.
There is. Last year was tough, man, because so I think I did 3 Xfinity races in 2018, and none of them really went well. We ran really well at Mid-Ohio. We got spun out. Then we ran decently. I think we finished 9th or something at Road America. And then we got in that turn 1 wreck at the Charlotte Roval, and I was put off by it. And it was a rough deal. And I didn't run anything in 2019. And then 2020 coming back post COVID, I got to do Daytona and Road America for Our Motorsports in the 02 because Moffitt was jumping back and forth in the truck deal. And when they said there'd be no practice, I was like, oh man, you mean we'd roll just straight into qualifying? That's going to be tricky. And man, I don't know if I'm going to qualify. And they're like, no, there's no qualifying either. We're just gonna pull it out of the trailer and roll it through tech, and you get a pace lap. And I'm like, I haven't driven one of these in 2 years now. This is gonna be a little bit tricky. So yes, there's definitely on the road racing side, it's a very similar application. It's almost old school because it's still an H pattern. It's still a 4-speed H pattern, and it's still, heel toe braking and stuff like that. On the ovals, that's tricky. You almost need to like take one head off, put a new one on, and relearn a whole bunch of stuff. The tire is so different. I'm looking forward to this this next gen car because I think if I have an opportunity to drive it, it'll be a lot more like the GT3 cars that I drive. And that would give me a little bit less of a disadvantage on the road courses, just in tire feel and stuff like that. But yeah, last year was crazy, just going out, doing a pace lap and then throwing the green and trying to figure out everything. That's when good note takers and stuff like that stuff's important. So we got 2 top 5s out of it, 2 5th place finishes in 2 races last year. So that led to this year's opportunities and hopefully some more on down the road if I can perform again this year.
Another one I read this morning about your luge career, which I found pretty interesting. I like watching luge at the Olympics. I was just wondering if there were, like, it's kind of like racing, but also kind of not. It's sort of like qualifying. I was wondering if there's anything you can apply from racing to luge to racing, or maybe.
So my luge experience is street luge. So it is on wheels on a mountain hill. I did ice luge one time as this really cool, the ice luge sanctioning body and the street luge sanctioning body got together as a cross promotion. And they said the top 3 finishing Americans at the end of the year in both series will train each other in their other disciplines. So I was one of the top 3 ranked Americans at the end of 2003 or 4, and that got me an invite to Salt Lake City to go to basically luge school. And they entered us. We did like 2 nights of training, and then they entered us in the U.S. Amateur Nationals, and that was a blast. But my real luge experience is street luge, like you've seen in the X Games back in the day, if you've ever checked that out. So that is 2-man, 4-man, and 6-man heats. So you are racing shoulder to shoulder down a mountain hill, laying down toes first with your head laid back, flying down hills. The fastest I've ever gone on a luge was 98 miles an hour, but typically on race courses when you're racing side by side, it is low 70s. But racing line, understand the geometry of your trucks is just like understanding the geometry of your suspension. So luge didn't help me race cars, but cars definitely helped me race luge. Understanding the draft, understanding all sorts of understanding of a mechanical rolling device and how you can make it go faster, and understanding aerodynamics really set the stage for helping me do really well in street luge over the years. I ran street luge from 2001 through 2016 was the last event that I took place in, participated in. I have a wrist injury from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that has messed up my paddle. So, we start from a standing start, kind of leaned over, and we paddle and push off. And that inhibits me a little bit because I don't have as much angle on my right wrist. But it is a blast, and it is one of the funnest things to do. I don't encourage open road street luge, but doing events and stuff like that is absolutely wild.
That sounds pretty insane.
It's cool.
So you got up to what, 98? You said?
Yeah. So we did in Canada, northeast of Quebec City, basically like due north over Maine. There's this insanely stupid steep hill for like 3/4 of a mile, and nowhere in the United States would they pave this hill just straight down to the bay. It would be like a windy road with like a little flat thing, and then like a little uphill section to slow cars down, and then it would wind around. these Canadians, there's like a slight bend in the road and then it just drops. And it was insane. And so we went to try to break the Guinness Book of World Records, which was set on that hill, which was like 98.2 miles an hour. And so 20 street losers got invited for a 2-day run where it was just the Guinness Book of World Records officials were there. They set a speed trap at the bottom and they gave us parameters which defined the definition of a street luge. And I built a purpose-built street luge. If you guys go to my Instagram, it's just Andy Lally Racing. You scroll back to September 2016, you'll see pictures of this. I basically made a 10-foot long lawn dart that I crawled into and bombed some crazy hills with. It was that is one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life. I've done so many stupid, crazy things in my life, and that is in the top 3. On the last run that I did, I called my dad who helped me build this luge. I designed the whole thing, and then I went, he's got a fab shop, and we went in and we did all the cutting and welding. And then I brought it back to Georgia. He's in New York still. And I took foam and I foamed, I shaped and cut and sanded all the aerodynamic devices on it. And then my stepdad actually helped me with that. And then I fiberglassed it and then painted this thing. You'll see this. It's insane if you look at the pictures on my Instagram. And I called him before my last run because I'd done 94 miles an hour and I thought I was going to kill myself. And like typical Canadian sporting event too, they put like a mattress and a few hay bales up at the end of the road. You get through the speed trap and there's a guardrail, a cliff on the right side, and a cement divider that's like 6 feet tall. So if you eat it, if you lose control going through the speed trap, and it's not, oh, by the way, this is a road that sees real winters. So it's got undulations and wheel tracks in it and stuff like that. So it is not smooth. And so you're getting thrown around in there. And at 94 miles an hour, I almost lost it through the shutdown zone because that's like the worst part and it's super narrow. And that's where a lot of guys were like, you could see they were starting to lose as we were bombing it faster and faster and pushing off harder and going full tuck all the way down. And I called my dad and I'm like, I should only go if I'm going to go flat out because I'm so close to that right now. But like every mile an hour that you go, just like a plane, it adds instability. Like if you did, when I did 90 miles an hour and I had like a little bit of you ever get on a skateboard and roll down a hill and the trucks are too loose and you get this wob and you got to like aim for the neighbor's lawn to bail out because you know there's no way that you're going to hold on. That's what happens, but it happens at 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, 75, 80, 90 miles an hour. And you have to tune the geometry and tighten up the suspension for that. And then still have it be able to turn a little bit. So you can't just lock it straight and send it straight down the hill. You'll just run off in the sides and every little undulation. So I called him. I'm like, this is full send. Like I do this. This is take the GoPros off the nose, full speed suit, push off as hard as you can, full tuck, never look up, and go. And he's like, you spent all that time building it. Might as well. I'm like, I sat at the top of the hill. I'm like, this may be the last time I use my legs because that's how insane this was. You're just at 100 miles an hour. It's like jumping out of a car at 100 miles an hour, and maybe you hit the guardrail, or maybe you hit the wall, or maybe you're lucky and you slide straight. And we bombed it. I did like 98.6 or 98.8 miles an hour, something like that. Me and 2 other guys broke the Guinness Book of World Records. I was 3rd quickest. The guy that broke 100 miles an hour. And then lost it in the shutdown area, almost killed himself. My buddy, Mike McIntyre. I think he's back to full strength. He's back to full strength. Hopefully he's back to full mental capacity now. That was 5 years ago. That's a brave dude. But yeah, that was insane. And that was one of the biggest gut check. You know, some guys might say that took guts or like, that's a manly thing. That was so dumb. That's all that was. That was just a dumb, crazy, egotistical run down a hill because I wanted to break a record. And that was it.
I sent the videos to the group chat if you guys want to watch
Yeah.
them. I was trying
I just found it.
Okay.
I'm watching
they're
it. That's
they're pretty crazy.
crazy.
They're pretty crazy.
Steve going
There's
downhill.
there's one from there's a Red Bull one that we
I wanna
did
see
jumps
this.
on in streets of San Francisco. That one is pretty cool too. But yeah, man, good stuff.
That is absolutely wild. But so I'm gonna take it back to the racing a little bit. Because yeah, that was seeing a couple of those. That's honestly insane seeing that stuff. But so we've talked about the beginning of your career. We've talked about running at Daytona and running at Watkins Glen. What's I know it says you've done Le Mans before, but are there any other international tracks that you wish you could have raced at if you haven't already?
So I love the US, man. I love our tracks here. There are definitely I've been to Le Mans, I've been on the podium at Le Mans. Amazing track, amazing fan base. When we walked out onto the podium there and the people were just gushing off the stands, like 100,000 people in pit lane. It was insane. Very cool. But unless it's like with a really competitive deal, I don't have a ton of interest to go back there, but it's a cool track. As far as like the check it off the box things, I'm not dying to go, but Nürburgring would be awesome. Spa, doing Eau Rouge would be really cool. Probably only those two tracks. I take it back. I raced the World Championships in Australia in street luge, and we raced from the top of Mount Panorama, which is Bathurst, all the way down, and that was 70 miles an hour of street luge, and I got to drive around. It's a public street. There's mailboxes on the side of the road when it's not a racetrack, but it's always fully lined as the racetrack, and man, that was an amazing spot. I would travel to go do a race there. It would be cool to do the 1,000 there. So in order, probably Bathurst, Nürburgring, Spa would be the three tracks internationally that I have not driven on that I would like to race. I've gone over to do Formula cars. I was fortunate enough to be part of the Team USA program back a long time ago, and got to race in England, got to race Silverstone, Snetterton, Brands Hatch, do some other testing out there. It was cool, but yeah, those other three would be pretty cool.
Bathurst and Nürburgring are definitely probably my two favorite international tracks out there. So that is definitely for sure. Those tracks are just absolutely insane. Yeah.
That Bathurst, the elevation change is just cool, and to go drive around the Green Hell would be pretty awesome too.
For sure, absolutely. Guys, you got any more?
Wanna do our
Do the
question?
one.
Do
Do the one.
question we always do?
The reliable.
Who's
all
asking
reliable.
it this time?
Who did it last time? Was it Chris?
I think
Yeah, I think it was me.
Chris did.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah, maybe you guys do it.
Okay. So we asked this with every one of our guests that come on. Do you have any funny stories about being at any track or something like that, being at a racetrack or anything?
Man, you needed to send me this in text so I could think about it. There's like yeah.
You're like, what's appropriate and what's not?
Yeah, but also, man, I'm horrible when you put me on a spot for something like that to have to dig through my memory, because my memory is a bunch of foggy, broken glass. So, yeah, I need, maybe next time I come on the show, give me a reminder again. But I mean, I'm at Mid Ohio. This is the 26th year that I've come to this track. Places like Lime Rock, Watkins Glen, all these places where I've been fortunate enough to race for 25, 6, 7, 8 years. This is my 28th year in auto racing. I've been real fortunate to be around and part of some amazing events, both funny and just, epic at the same time. So it would be pretty cool. That would be like a whole nother podcast that we could go through. So have me on in the future at some other point, and we'll go over some of that dumb stuff.
For sure.
Well, one thing I remember was a few years back was the fake Lego movie that Magnus did. I thought that was pretty funny.
There's so a lot of the stuff that Magnus does, John Potter, who owns Magnus Racing, I sum it up for him like this. This isn't exactly his words, but he has a great fresh look at racing period. I was going to say sports car racing, but he looks at all these press releases and they're so fill in the blank and cheesy. And I'm so excited about this, blah, 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 fill in the blank, blah, blah. And so he never wanted to do anything like that. So everything that touched the car with Magnus Racing has been taken extremely seriously. Like everything that is performance related to Magnus Racing, trying to win a race, trying to go faster, it's all seriousness. We do everything that we can to make the most amount of speed. Everything that is part of the team, everything else that is part of the team that does not directly relate to how fast the car can go is almost not allowed to be taken seriously. So our press releases and our media stuff is paramount in that area. And what you're referring to was the 2016 Daytona 24-hour preview video where my buddy Sean Heckman and John Potter got together and did this crazy video where we all got lip sync roles, and we all had speaking parts that we had to do an audio thing for, and they made the Legos talk with us. That video you cannot find anymore because we won the 24 hours of Daytona that year, and we got a letter Monday after the race from Lego, which was from their lawyers, and it was a cease and desist letter, and they said in it, "Congratulations on your excellent victory, but we must ask you to never show this video again," because they didn't call them Legos. What do they call the Lego? What do they call the people, the Lego people?
Minifigures?
Yeah, what minifigures? Yes, they said our minifigures cannot be shown drinking alcohol. And if you guys saw the video way back before we got it taken down, we left it up for like another 2 days just to get everybody's views in there. It was pretty epic. It was and everything that Magnus. If you guys go to the Magnus Racing YouTube page, there you could probably see every year that we've done. We stopped doing it last year when he switch the teams over and stuff like that. But there's a bunch of years of movie posters and preview videos and all sorts of crazy stuff that he just likes to be really lighthearted about all that stuff. It's pretty cool.
Honestly.
Yeah, I remember,
Nothing like
I
getting a
remember
cease
that
and
video.
desist.
That video stuck out to me.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you for
for
Oh
sure.
yeah,
sharing.
thanks
This
for
was
coming
great.
on.
Yeah, thanks for showing up. Yeah.
And
If you
anytime,
want
guys.
Stories.
Shout out
Good
your
stuff.
social medias where people can get a hold of you, check or
Sure.
get updates on you and all this and that.
I'm just real simple. On Twitter, I'm just at Andy Lally. On Instagram, I'm at Andy Lally Racing. And those are the two main social media. I'm not a Snapchat or a TikTok guy. I'm giving up on that. I'm just going to stick to the basics. I'm too old for TikTok. I don't think I'm allowed on there. But yeah, if you follow me that, my Instagram really, my Twitter is for some basic stuff. My Instagram, I'm on a lot with either my stories or my posts or something like that. You can see me today. Actually, if you check it out today, you can see me trying to jump over my teammate's car while it's going.
No.
In pit lane.
Oh,
While it's smoking the tires. Yeah, it's good times. So,
that is
Good
awesome. But yeah, thanks again
Well-
for coming on here with us. We'll definitely have to get you back on here and get some more stories.
Sounds
All
good,
that,
guys.
Sure.
All right, man. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah,
Be
Yeah,
good.
thanks
for
for
coming
coming
on.
Good one.
Thank you.
All good. Later, guys.
Once again, thank you for Andy Lally for taking his time out of his night to come on with us. And thanks for watching the podcast. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Plus, or whatever it's called. I think I covered that.
Yeah, you covered that. There you go.
Review, comment, all that stuff. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next